So what is the NID? The Nostrum Unzernate Deutsch. They're Austrian Jews out of Hunnic culture of Italy. And they've started almost every war notable of all mankind, especially with rare genomes, even managing the Great Morning Wars of the New World, 30,000 BC. The message in a bottle was sent across the ocean to modern-day Florida. And at the time, the natives and South American natives made shoes from bison leather, but it was suggested they use a snake and call it a moccasin, the shoe, and the snake be called a water moccasin. This induces a speech impediment if you've ever been the victim of a sexual assault. But to a shoemaker or cobbler, it seems as if you're a sex criminal for disliking their wares, which they value very highly, especially as if a trade item. There are other examples, of course, but each time they kidnap a child and then they use hypnosis on them, the child stolen from a man in his sleep, and then they track the man down and see what the sexual regress response in the child was to resisting the Austrian-Jewish Hun, and they analyze the father under hypnosis by forcing him into gay sex. It's a simplistic hunting pattern of somebody with bony arms, thick fingers, and natural hairless body and muscle, often called a stud, a cuck, a doctor. They claim yard work or housework. They're always adopted and placed there by the church. But they can't grow body hair. They have a natural muscular figure. If female, it's called a mother superior. And if male, it's called a Schuhstoffel. Term claimed by Hitler, another one of their tricks. Let's look at another such trick. The Kurdish French and Kurdish English have a term called bitch. You place your son down under your level of wealth or daughter, and whenever they ask for something, even something minor, you accuse them of bitching. This is since the tall mast ship and Jamaica, its modern piracy culture. So, with a set of 5 drops to dummies, they will then place themselves into a potential defection, still working for Britain, into Jamaica, where the genome is cousined, the Jamaican Islanders, and the Kurds of the various parts of Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, such as North Korea, Mongolia, etc. And of course the Arabian Peninsula, the Mohammedans, in Africa, the Beninese. But moving forward, now there's 2 twin concepts. Cold soup, gazpacho. This is a serial killer. They change bitch to complain. And there's hot soup, Gestapo. These ones have defected to Jewish culture. Kvetcher is their term for bitch. They will hunt Jews disliked by a Jewish hiring party on pay of down payment monetary, separate from source of government, never from dole, them originating the concept for a retired agent, never fraudulent, always within tax. However, the hiring agent has to have a shellfish allergy, they have to be synagogue adherents since their birth, and through all rituals of adulthood, marriage not necessary, and they have to speak fluent Hebrew. Not Yiddish, but that's also acceptable as long as Hebrew is pleasant. And then the false French, the accountant, will take down Jewish interests for a Jewish hiring master. Hitler seized the culture after being placed in Gestapo during the Great War instead of gazpacho, his request, by a Viking Nord, manipulated by the NID, the Deutchmarkers. the Austrian Jews. And then the Deutchmarkers then took over the Gestapo culture after the war. We still use the terms in labels. Gazpacho being a cold soup with basil leaf somewhere in the soup, and Gestapo being a pork wonton in a hot Chinese broth. And of course, the term for a Jewish infiltrator, a Muslim in any faith, having a slur, our system. If it's a Chinese Jew, it's a chink. Otherwise, the racial slur doesn't apply. Or if it's a Jewish dominatrix of any race, a gook. You are applying a Marco Polo culture of French nationality, offensive to us. But each time, each of these wars has been caused by the Deutchmarkers throughout the world, and each time it's the sexual offense against a child, an opie as they call it down south, kidnapped, molested, forcing in resistance, and the father trapped and molested by a man calling himself any one of many cultures. How do you spot them? Shaggy long hair, jaw that's kind of pointed, no facial or body hair, perhaps a small tuft on the chest, natural muscle, and they have hands that look like manacles and can easily bend you. They always pose as a doctor or ambulance driver, but every single time they have a core group of people that believe they're pro-Jewish, even though they're anti-Semites by membership. So what do? You call their father of adoption or blood on the phone or message or missive them in the mail and indicate, and you have to have a Jew do this, their son is in criminal cahoots. That means they get a DC Comics or Marvel or Ace Comics, etc., maybe even a cop paper like the Herald, writing job. And that gives them the job of Superman, also known as the Joker, the same character. Joker reads Superman comics. And with this little trick, we can get them to print themselves in every single issue or comic or movie or film, destroying the Deutschmarkers.